Hi everyone and welcome to this very first vlog of mine here on Patreon. I'm actually so far out of my comfort zone at the moment because I'm so used to being behind a camera and not in front of the lens. But I do like to challenge myself on occasion, and I did promise you a vlog, so no better time than now, I suppose. Before we head on with the topic for today, I just want to take a brief moment and say welcome to our newest members here on Patreon, Alexandra and Jasmina. I am so happy to have you here. Okay guys, the topic of today is actually one you voted for on the poll I posted a while back. And you asked to hear more about the projects I have going on in my life right now. But before I get started with those, I do think I have to go back a little in time and explain what led me to where I am today. So let's do that. So, about a year ago, I had just separated from the man that I had spent the last 8 years living with. The process of coming to the point of separation had been really heartbreaking for me, but I had come to a point in my life where I realized that I really needed to part ways with him in order for me to choose myself and my own health. Now, this was a really tough and emotional separation, as they usually are, and it soon became clear that I would be the one to have to leave the house that we had bought together. When it came right down to it, to be very frank, it was a matter of being able to buy him out or being able to afford to keep my dogs. No matter how excruciating this choice was for me, I knew there was only one way I could actually go. Because these dogs, they are my life, they are my babies and the love and joy of my life. So there was no way I would part ways with them. Now, Eric and I had also owned a business together that we ran together, where I worked full-time in the business and he worked part-time alongside his normal job. Naturally, when we decided to part ways as a couple, we also decided to part ways as business partners. And for me, this meant that I would not only have to find a new home for me and the dogs, but it also meant that I could not keep running the business that I had built up on the place where it was established. This hit really, really hard because I had worked for this business for years and I had put my every single little ounce of energy into building this company up. And I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved the place where I lived. I loved the company. I loved the thing that I had created. And I loved having all of these fantastic moments together with the guests that I brought on tours. So this was such a huge blow for me. I took it really, really, really hard. And 2020 came with lots of challenges in every single level of my life. So I ended up really, really mentally and emotionally exhausted, and physically, to be honest. I suppose there's no other way to put it. I was completely burnt out when the summer arrived. I actually tried for a very long time to stick to the hope that I would find a new place within the area where we were already established, where I could move in and build up my company again. But I could not find one. I looked through the villages and towns nearby. I talked to every single person I could find. I searched on every single site I could find online, and it was just nowhere to be found. So I ended up actually searching wider. And I suppose this is how I ended up here in the teeny tiny village of Österåsen, together with the dogs. I moved in here in mid-July 2020 and was soon accompanied by Niklas, my new boyfriend, who actually sold everything in Stockholm to move in with me. And I suppose this is what takes us to where we are now. We spent the last months really focused on rebuilding kennels for the dogs and making sure they had a safe space to live. And that meant building kennels and dog houses, enclosures for their free running area, since not all of them can be off leash. Yeah, this was our main goal during the months after July. And we did this day and night until the first snow came and, well, stopped the possibilities of our building projects, really. Seriously speaking, you guys, thank God for Niklas. I truly do not know how I would have managed to get through these past few months if it hadn't been for his help and energy that he put into helping me out and getting everything in order for the dogs. These months were so stressful, and there was so much else going on in my life, and to be honest, when it wasn't about building, it was just about surviving. I am so grateful that I have him in my life, because it's yeah, I even get emotional speaking about it. Yeah. Now, apart from just building the kennels and settling in and trying to get everything in order for the dogs to be safe and happy, I was working really hard, and my head was just a mess trying to find new ways of making a living up here. I quickly realized I would have to come up with new ideas and creative ways of actually be able to make a living up here, because the area where I live is very different from where I came from. And of course, I could just have taken any normal employment out there, which I would have done if that was my absolute only option. But I also knew in my heart that taking on a so-called normal job would mean for me to abandon the very reason why I even moved up here and made all of these huge life changes in the first place. I was already in such a bad shape, physically, emotionally, mentally, that I just knew that were I to take a normal job, something that has never really worked that well for me, I would not be able to sum up the energy I needed in order to both do a normal job and also rebuild something of my own, which is what I really truly want in my heart. That is what I am passionate about, and I just feel like life is too short to waste on something you don't truly burn for. So simply put, I just knew that I had to make a choice. I had to make the choice to be brave and trust that everything will fall into place as long as I just breathe and try to think creatively. And well, Patreon is a result of that. So we have come to the point where I need to answer the question, what does rebuilding my business look like at the moment? Let's start with number 1, rebuilding and renewing my website. After a lot of reflection, I decided to develop and grow the business idea that I had previously. And this is how Inni Norden was born. Inni Norden will focus on designing Scandinavian outdoor experiences, both with and without the Huskies. Emphasis will lie on back-to-basic experiences where you get to explore simple pleasures in the Swedish wilderness. I had so many ideas of how to expand and create and develop this part of my business, but I also know it will take time to build it up and develop it, and it will take investments and it will take a lot of hard work to get it where I am from where I am to where I want it to be. So my goal for this year, apart from just getting the website out, is to be able to actually start taking customers in during the summer of 2021. So that's what I'm working towards at the moment with Inni Norden. Another thing that I've started to look into a lot more during this time is actually collaborations with other business owners. And one of those business owners is my very good friend Marlene, who runs the MeMUSH Academy. MeMUSH Academy is an online-based education platform, that was a hard one, that focuses on educating regarding mushing, the dog sport itself, sled dogs and dog welfare. And I am, together with her, developing courses and even launching a podcast during what I hope will be 2020. I am also functioning as I suppose you could call it a social media strategist, perhaps, helping her and MeMUSH Academy to have a good plan around their content and marketing through social media to reach their target groups, which is actually really much fun. So if you are interested in sled dogs and mushing, this is something you should stay tuned on. Project number 3, as you can tell, there's a few of them, but I'm actually writing an ebook. I'm finally doing it. I've been wanting to write a book for pretty much my whole life, and well, I suppose I have the time to do it now. And it's very early in its stage, and it's just a newborn little baby, so I won't be telling you a lot about it this time. But if you would like me to, I will definitely revisit it down the line and tell you more about it. If you are interested in how I do the ebook, in case you'd like to do it yourself, just let me know, comment it in the comment section, and I will talk you through and guide you through how I am doing it. Of course, I have never done it before, so I'm no expert, but you know, trial and error. And then we've come to project number 4, which is actually really funny. It's so interesting how the world works sometimes. It's like you put an idea out in the universe and all of a sudden things starts happening. And this is about freelancing again. I have actually not even told people about this yet, and still I've got 2 projects as we speak that just landed on my table out of the blue. Yeah, that's just really funny. And this first project that I have is really exciting. It was actually a very influential and fantastic dog trainer that reached out to me, one of my gurus in dog training, which made me very, it really warmed my heart. Who reached out to me because she wanted to buy a few photos and articles that I had written. And she wanted to use those in her online educations. And this is just, I would never have imagined this in my life, that one of my idols would actually reach out to me. So I'm really, really humbled and so happy that she has that kind of confidence in me. And then we have project number 2 that actually just happened the other day, when an acquaintance called me up and asked if I wanted to do a filmed, photographed and written interview with a fellow musher. Musher is the person behind the sled dogs. And this were to be used in the marketing of the World Championships of 2022, sled dog championships we're talking about here. It's also a collaboration with Region Jämtland Härjedalen, which is really cool because it's about ambassadors taking huge leaps of faith when they move up north to kind of pursue their dreams. And not only did he ask me to do this interview, he also actually asked me to be one of the ambassadors and feature an interview myself. And yeah, that's really exciting and kind of a bit scary, to be honest. It's so funny how life works sometimes. And then lastly, I just want to tell you about a passion project of mine that I think will be called Campfire Stories. So storytelling has always been a very big part of my life. I have always loved creating stories and sharing experiences through the written word, through blogging, through my lens and photography, and I suppose it's just a very big essence of who I am as a person. So I decided to listen to that inner voice and, nudging little feeling in the back of my head that just kept talking about this idea and that wouldn't leave me be. So I decided to create my own YouTube series. Now, Campfire Stories as a concept is quite simple. Once a month, I will invite a special guest to bring with me outside on a night of camping, where the main topic may vary, but it will always come down to one thing. And that is the meeting that happens between people and souls around a campfire when you start sharing your story and your experiences. I want it to be quite simple, quite down to earth and filled with inspiring people and their stories. And I've actually got my first guest down who has accepted to join me, and that will be Kjaer, who is a good friend of mine. And I will actually post her social media links if you want to check her out down in the description of this video. And yeah, I'm really excited about getting this going. I hope it will become good and I hope it will touch people that see it, to be honest. In this first episode that I'm doing with Kjaer, I think that we will kind of touch topics about womanhood and how tough it can be to let go of the expectations or the imagined expectations you have on how you are supposed to be to then become the woman you really are. We will probably touch topics such as trauma and PTSD and big life changes and moments in your life that led you to the point where you are now. I'm really, really excited to have her on board because I think we need to talk about these things and we need to be vulnerable because we are not alone and it's such an important subject to talk about. So hopefully you guys will be interested in watching these and I just can't wait to get started with them. Okay guys, so this is it, my first vlog. I hope you like it and yeah, it's time to wrap it up so I can head out with my huskies. Thank you for taking the time to watch this and listen to my rambles. I really hope you get something from it and that you liked it. And if you have any sort of feedback or questions or thoughts on the stuff that I've talked about today or anything else, please just comment. I would love to speak with you more and hear your thoughts. But for now, take care. I am so grateful that you are here, every single one of you. And we'll speak soon. Let's carry on the conversation down in the comments. Bye!